Hello, everyone, and welcome to the evolution of retail trading. As we know, retail trading over the years has transformed completely and entirely from something that people were very skeptical about maybe a decade ago. Now it's the kind of thing that everyone just wants to jump into. Today, we have a very special episode because we have with us Mr. Nima Siar, who is the Head of Partnership and Business Development Initiatives at Exness. I'm so glad we're doing this today.
Me too, Mashal. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. So let's begin with first what you do, why you started doing it, what made you come toward this.
Come into what, the industry?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm from the States, and I got my start. My first job out of university, I was working for a bank, working in their mortgage division, doing refinancing and home loans. And then I happened to start trading back then with my father. And back then, he was trading with a company providing services to American clients. I was speaking with these people a lot, and we were just talking. Like, we had an account manager, and got to know them. This company had offices, in Cyprus, and Poland, and UK, Australia. And we got to talking. Anyways, it made me aware of this type of industry, and that's like there's a potential job in this type of industry. I had no idea because in the States there was not, CFD companies really, or there's companies providing services. So needless to say, it's just quite funny. I was actually in Cyprus. I was on a holiday, and I happened to meet some people, and they were working for a prominent company in the industry. And it was on my radar, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. Like, I keep on hearing about this. So I went back to the States. Needless to say, through a headhunter, just randomly, I got approached by a company, and they're like, look, we have this company. They provide service to American clients, and they want an American, but the job is based in Cyprus. And would you be interested to move to Cyprus? And I was like, I was just there like 4 months ago. Like, yes, for sure. So I went to Cyprus again, met with this company. Amazing company, great people. I was with them nearly 10 years and started just as an account manager and kind of worked my way through the ranks and learning about the different aspects of the business, from trading to account management to business development, et cetera. And needless to say, that's how I got my start in the industry. I'm still a trader today. And that's kind of the long story short.
So you essentially spotted the industry before it was an industry.
Definitely. I mean, so look, I got my start in this industry from an employee standpoint, July 2009, and I was trading with my father, I would say from late 2006, 2007. So I've been the consumer, and I've also been on the front end.
That's really early on, because everyone started jumping onto this, I think, 2018 onwards.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, so I've seen the evolution. I've been part of the evolution. Yeah, so I'm always excited to talk about it because I've experienced it, and it's been a journey.
So what has changed between like 20 years ago and like now? Let's take like a step back. What did trading look like 20 years ago?
Wow, I mean, I don't even know where to start. I would say, if I have to put it, because there's just so much has changed, but if I have to put, let's say, one word, I would just say less. So less regulation, less payment solutions, less options from a platform perspective. Just less, smaller. It was just smaller. And for the most part, I think when it was in its infancy, the industry, I think it had a lot of pros and cons to that. I think obviously now having so much more options definitely gives consumers more, the trader gives them more options. But at the same time, now that the industry is so saturated, I also feel that this is where kind of brokers will take loose ends in order to make their profits or, over promise and under deliver kind of thing. So it's kind of worked both ways.
So now, because we have more regulations, now you can pretty much even ask ChatGPT like a million things, and things are a lot easier now. At that time, like maybe like, a couple decades ago, what were the main challenges and limitations?
So look, for sure, spreads were way higher. And when I say like higher, wasn't, like 5 times, 6 times what you see now, to see like, I remember trading Euro USD with my father, and in some of our early days, I recall our spreads that we were paying were maybe like 5-6 pips, 5-6 pips. Now it's like, you're looking for like half a pip. So obviously you're opening your trade and you're already way behind the, 8-ball kind of thing. So definitely higher spreads back then. It was typical to pay commissions on like withdrawals or, payment processing and these things. And and you would just have less options from a brokerage perspective. So you had limitations there. If something wasn't working, so be it. And it's not like now where if you have a challenge, you have all this online media that you can report it to, or there's financial ombudsman or these type of things. trade is closed for what looks kind of questionable, you just deal with it.
Yeah.
Now there's so much, protections and kind of investment protections, if you will, that I think brokers are more cooperative if, there's an issue or a challenge.
Okay. So what do you think triggered this global shift, honestly, towards digital platforms?
Well, look, back in the day, and I mean, again, I was too young to be a part of it, but back in the day, like doing this type of trading or Forex trading, it was for like banks and for hedge funds and, family offices. It wasn't for the consumer. So I think once this kind of opened up for the average Joe, let's say, to be able to open an account, I think it gained popularity. And look, I even recall in my earlier days, there was a handful of brokers, offering services, but they had minimum deposit amounts, like putting in $10 to open an account. That wasn't possible. So I think it's just become a lot more accepted. If I have to be perfectly upfront, I would say even in my days, I thought it was a little bit of a bubble. I didn't think it was going to, just continue to expand as much as it has. But I think I just see the popularity increasing, and I definitely think that, I see people who've, they've created jobs and, paid for houses and educations and changed their lives in this industry. But I've also seen some people who, on the other end, haven't been able to kind of manage the responsibility of investment. So it's gaining popularity. I don't see it going anywhere. And I think the fact that it's 24 hours, 5 days a week, easy accessibility, everybody's got a phone. So it makes it easier. I mean, look, in my earlier days, it was primarily downloadable platforms. And there's a handful of brokers that had a online, like a, web platform.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a big thing, even in like, mid 2000s,
Yeah.
like, wow, I don't need to be on a specific computer. And then I would say like in the late 2000s, then like the mobile trading got a little more popular in mobile apps. But, now everybody's got a mobile phone, not everybody has a computer. So internet connection, mobile phone, $10, you can be involved, So I think this is why it's for the masses now.
And so since you've seen trading essentially from the start, right? What is the biggest difference, and actually know the advantages from human execution versus online execution? It must be like a lot simpler. I remember like seeing videos of the old stock exchanges as well, and they had certain hand signals,
Yeah.
and although it is really cool, that seems very stressful. Right? So is it like easier now? Do you think it's less stressful?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's definitely, I would say it's less stressful. End of the day, I mean, majority of brokers have what are called like liquidity providers. So it's someone that's basically providing them the pricing, and trades are, can be open, almost instantly. Whereas maybe back in the day, you might not get a buyer until, you might not get someone to buy something that you're selling until there is actually that counterparty. So yeah, it's easier now, and you're not reliant on this kind of old school buyer seller kind of thing. So you're dealing with a market maker who is basically facilitating the transaction. So definitely quicker, definitely easier.
Okay. So when we think of traders over the years, right? How would you say traders have evolved as compared to how they were and how they behaved maybe 10 years ago, and how they behave and how they think now?
Yeah. So let's say even go back, let's say 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years, 9 out of 10 traders needed education. What is a pip? What is leverage? What is a stop loss? All these things. Now, I mean, pretty much everybody has that basic kind of level of knowledge. So now the trader, the investor, now that they've become a lot more smarter and more educated, which is great. So now they're more conscious of like trading conditions and slippages and spreads, and they're just they're more savvy. But what I find is that there's certain markets that they're maybe a little more advanced than other markets. So you have like these kind of developing markets where they still need the education. People still require that. They don't understand what risk management is. So we still need, from the industry perspective, we still need to provide these things. But then if you look at like, let's say some markets in Southeast Asia, I mean, everybody knows what they're doing. It's just a matter of like, what are your trading conditions and what are your withdrawal processes, and what payment solutions do you have, and these type of things. So the investors gotten far more savvy. And the way I see it is that because this is such a fast-moving market, so again, 5 days a week, 24 hours a day, a lot of transactions, so the industry is evolving quicker because it's not, it just, there's this, it's developing or evolving quicker. So like what you see in maybe, let's say, what has happened in even 5 years in this industry might have taken, let's say, the stock world like 30 years.
Yeah.
So we're just moving really fast, and it's great to see, because ultimately it really keeps the products getting better.
Yeah.
The trading conditions are getting better, the services that are being provided are getting better. So yeah, education is less as critical as it used to be, but definitely now people are like, are you regulated? What type of trading conditions do you have? And that's good. That's a sign of a advanced investor, which if they know these things, they have a better chance to be successful, which is good for them, and it's good for the brokers that are operating ethically.
And if we are to speak about expectations, right? I think there has been a shift in what people expected from trading before as to what they do now. If we're speaking
Yep.
on a general level, right?
Yeah.
Because of course, with coins like Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies like that
Yeah.
coming in, right? There is a lot of people who initially, at least when they are entering or deciding to enter the world of trading, they are somewhere expecting like the next 100x, right?
Yes.
So how, in your experience, how do you think
Yeah, I mean, look,
expectations-
expectations, one word to describe expectations I see in this industry is unrealistic. And I think that's why a lot of people do the trading. And I think people kind of got grounded and back down to reality. And then, as you said, crypto, Bitcoin came in, and now everybody's looking for the next kind of golden ticket to, make it quick. So this is the tough part. And this is the tough part, to manage these expectations. And, some people who are looking for, let's say, this kind of quick win or quick million, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't want to classify them in a word of like investors. I would say it's probably more of a gambling.
Yeah.
It's not investing. I mean, waking up in today and saying, I think Bitcoin's going to go up, like, that is not an informed decision. And maybe it will,
Yeah.
but this is the hard part. And this is one thing that, let's say, me working with like the front line, let's say, business developers or account managers, my thinking to them, and the thought process that I want them to communicate to their people is, let's be real here, and tell them about the risks before you can tell them about any profits, and tell them why people lose money, and why in some cases 70-80% of investors in this industry lose money. And it's not because of a lack of education or knowledge. It just comes down to bad risk management and greed.
Definitely.
This is what it is. So let's communicate this. Let's be open. Let's be transparent.
Yeah.
And should they decide to wake up and say, gold's going to go up today because I feel like it is, I had a dream about it,
Yeah.
that's on them. But at least
Yeah.
our side of the street's clean, that we've
Yeah.
communicated,
Definitely.
what could happen.
So social media now plays a very, very large role in,
Yeah.
like the evolution of not only cryptocurrencies, but blockchain technology as well, and just overall digitalization of trading, right? So how do you think social media has impacted the world of trading, the good and the bad?
Yeah. So do you want to start with the good or start
Yeah,
with the bad?
let's no, bad news
Let's
first.
start with the bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and maybe, I don't know if I would call this bad, maybe bad for brokers, but definitely social media has been used as an outlet for people to complain and talk about their bad experience. Maybe blaming brokers for losses when maybe it was the broker's fault, but maybe not. And, sometimes it's just the market, how the markets move and behave. I mean, a lot of people don't realize you're dealing with, there's no central exchange for Euro USD. So, what Bloomberg's prices and investing.com's prices and broker X prices, they're always going to be different. So social media definitely being used for people as a forum for them to communicate their challenges. So call that good, call that bad. Sometimes I think brokers get a bad break, though, in some of these cases. Definitely, from a social media perspective, another area where I've seen it, definitely it is bad, and it's bad for the industry, is people using the broker's name or profile to pretend to be them and saying, hey, invest with me and directly into this account not related to the broker, and I'll give you 7% on a monthly basis. I see this a lot, especially
7% monthly.
Yeah, that's like a very a mild one. I've seen much more. But the problem is that with some of these developing markets, they don't know. They don't have that education to understand that, hey, this is an unrealistic return, perhaps, or that not depositing directly with the broker is a risk. You think it's, after all this time, I think, no, this is done. No one is going to fall for this type of thing anymore. And unfortunately, it still happens. And it's painful. It's painful to see, because it's bad for the business. So from a bad perspective, this
and
manipulation.
it probably gives people like a sour taste in their mouth regarding it, right? Like once bitten, twice shy.
It very possibly. I mean, if it happened to me, yes, I would too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in that position though. I mean, but yes, it probably does. We'd probably lose potential business from
Yeah,
this.
I think it's important for people to take their due diligence very seriously.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes I think as human beings, it's easy to assume it's not going to happen to me.
Oh,
You know, and
right.
that is where our lapse lies.
Sure. I mean,
Right.
look at it this way. Someone goes to, they want to go buy a car.
Yeah.
People just don't, I mean, in most cases, they don't just walk on the lot and say, you know what, I'm just going to get this Tesla, like boom. They're going to do some research and just check,
Yeah.
you know, different prices, do these different things. In this day and age with how much competition there is, and I don't even want to call it competition because there's only a handful of brokers that, let's say, if my mom called me and said, I want to trade, I'd say, here are 5 names. Other than that, don't even bother kind of thing. So I don't, there's a lot of, options. And what an investor really needs to do is prioritize what's important to them, because you're not going to find the perfect broker that checks all your boxes. So maybe say, look, you know, it's important for me that they offer a swap-free account. And they're not going to change it and say it's only last 10 days. I need a Sharia compliant account as an example. Maybe they need account management. Maybe they need education. They want a local office. Whatever maybe, you need to prioritize what's important to you and then say, okay, my top 3, these are non-negotiable. I got to have these. And then the rest is kind of icing on the cake. As opposed to just choosing a broker based on a deposit bonus or based on, you know, just somebody doing some education and just online and just sending you a link. They got to do the research. They got to do the research. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of brokers that cater to more advanced traders. And there's some brokers that definitely cater more to the beginner trader.
Yeah.
And there's good brokers in both kind of, you know,
Yeah.
pots.
And now let's talk about the good of social media.
Yeah. So the good thing is, I mean, the first thing that jumps off my mind is education. So now, instead of, you know, in my day, you needed to go, there's a handful of websites. There's like 2 or 3 websites to get education, like Baby Pips and there's some old school, you know, websites. And now, I mean, everything's online. So, I mean, you can go on YouTube and there's just unlimited education. There's live trading. That's great. So education, everybody can have. So I definitely think that people are becoming more informed because of social media. Definitely the usage of like trading channels and trading groups and, you know, on Telegram, WhatsApp, and, you know, these things where people can share insights and these things. So I think it's created more of a community, more of a trading community, which is great. And I think that it has helped actually the consumer to become more informed and to learn. So it's good. That, and then the third positive would be that social media has created a business opportunity for many people. Now people can say, you know what, I'm an expert trader. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to advertise my education, and I'm going to ask people to become work with me. I'm going to be their partner for another broker, an introducing broker. And this has become a massive industry, massive earning potential, and this is changing people's lives. You know, there's people, you don't need to, in this industry, you don't need to have a master's degree to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Or a PhD.
Honestly,
And
you
it
don't
doesn't
even
take
need to
a long
graduate
time.
from anywhere.
You just need,
Just need to be smart.
focused. No, just focused and
Study,
yeah, just have a good head
know
on your
what you're
shoulders.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, I know people that they are introducing brokers. They kill it. Like I'm talking 7 figures a year, like, and healthy 7 figures, and they don't know what a PIP is. But they're just really good at marketing, really good digital marketing, and they just know what to do and SEO and, you know, all these things.
And, you know, I think that's like very inclusive as well, because mostly in the capital markets, and you probably experienced this yourself as well, I have experienced this too, it's very cliquey when it comes to degrees and certifications.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the more I've studied, the better I am, the more years I have spent, the more I know than you. Right? So someone who maybe themselves hasn't even been investing for the past 20, 30 years, but just because they've been in a managerial role in maybe like a bank or a mutual fund or an asset management company, there's a sense of I'm better than you, which I feel you don't find in the world of commodity trading, Forex, crypto.
Never
You know,
thought about it,
it's more inclusive.
Could be, yeah. I mean, definitely from all walks of life are welcome to take advantage.
You essentially don't measure a fish's intelligence by how well it climbs a tree.
There you go. Well
Right?
said. Yeah.
So when it comes to just circling back to our topic of digitalization, right? So there are a lot of exchanges in the world. I want to talk a little bit about the Exness platform as well, and about how gamification of these platforms has invited more people to come toward it. What I mean by that is that, so like, we have a lot of different platforms in the world.
Yep.
Some of them are really ugly. If you talk about especially the stock markets, emerging economies, frontier markets that haven't really gamified their platforms as well that much, right? Their participation is really low, and I think a significant reason for that is the fact that it's not gamified. So the Exness platform is easy to use, right? It moves in real time by the second.
Yeah.
And how do you think that has played a role in?
Well, look, easy to use and gamification, I think, are two different things.
Yeah.
This whole concept of gamifying and trading,
Yeah.
I've thought about it for years, and I've just never had a strong opinion. I'm like, do I want to gamify this? Do I want to make it so easy that a child can do it? Yes, but do I want somebody who's as misinformed as a child to do it? No, that's the thing, because it's not good. It's not a good experience. So, look, from, let's say, the Exness platform, it is easy to use, and it's simple, and it's easy to understand. You look at the most popular trading platform in the industry, it's MetaQuotes or MT4 and MT5. I feel that I get more gray hair looking at it, just like the whole interface and everything. It's old, but people understand it. I think that for me, it's important that to identify brokers that have their own proprietary trading platforms, because for me, these are the brokers that are taking trading seriously. It's easy to get a MT5 license and a couple servers and just some offshore license and pretend that you're a broker. Or there's if you have been in the industry a long time, you really understand what the consumer, what the trader needs, what they want to see, how they want to see it, where the information needs to be displayed. I respect those type of brokerages a little more, because I know they're taking it seriously and really trying to make the experience better. Now, in terms of gamification, when you say gamification and trading, the first thing I think about is binary options. Okay. And those were super gamified, just like euro up or euro down.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I just, that industry, I wouldn't even call it industry, but that product has a very bad taste in my mouth, in terms of some of the marketing methods that those people used. There's a lot of lost money, a lot of manipulative tactics and manipulations and whatnot. And that negative marketing, or whatever you want to call it, cast an even worse shadow on my industry, which really upset me. So, but those apps were super gamified, super easy to use, up, down. So when it comes to gamification, I don't know if I agree or disagree with that, but I definitely feel that ease of use and something that has all the information that you need there to make an educated decision on your phone is critical.
And how do you feel platforms balance ease of use with responsibility, as you said?
Well, that's the thing. I look at many platforms just for me to understand. And, I still, when I do my trading, I still need to get a calculator out. I'm like, what is this? Like, how is this? Like, I got every number on the planet under the sun on this, what's going on. I'm like, I still need to get a calculator out to see, calculate my, value per pips or, things like this. So I think at times, there's still room to make it simpler. But look, again, this industry is it's infancy, it's a baby.
Oh, you still think so?
Absolutely. Look, it's evolved. It's evolved fast. It's gotten really big.
Yeah.
But it's still. Yes, I think it's still in its infancy.
With millions of users globally,
there's
most
nothing,
countries having more participation on deregularized exchanges than regulated exchanges.
Yeah, that's true. But look, there's a lot more room to grow.
So, Nima, if we're talking about, for example, you have a country where the first language is not English, right? But most trading platforms, they do use English. Even if you're just opening and closing a trade, you do need to understand a little bit of English. There are countries where I think people don't even speak a single word other than hello and goodbye. How do you think traders over there can somehow manage to get around this? Do you think it has something to do with the localization of certain exchanges in that country? How is a person supposed to get around this?
Well, look, brokers have adapted. So you go on even a small brokerage's website, there's going to be at least 7 to 10 languages there. The most popular trading platform, as we mentioned earlier, MetaQuotes, I think they have something like 30 plus languages. Yeah. So if someone doesn't speak, if the website's not translated or they need English, it's to get the KYC verification done, make the deposit, but the trading system is going to be in their local language for sure. I don't know of a language that we've had, or a language that we haven't had on the platform where somebody wasn't able to trade easily. But that's the thing, it's not just about the website being translated. Brokers need to adapt to what documents and KYC and regulations they have in these local markets. Account management, I think, needs to be in the local language. It's not about necessarily just the website to make the trading experience the way it should be.
Okay. And do you think that when it comes to investor education, right, locally, One issue that I think, especially in countries where trading is a newer concept, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, maybe not other assets, but asset classes, but specifically cryptocurrencies and forex and commodities. There's a lot of derailment that ends up taking place, right? Because you have audiences that are more impressionable. So how do you think brokers will adjust their responsibilities? Because I think some brokers just, I've noticed a trend where some brokers don't care about their traders. They just care about participation. Just take your trades, give the commission.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
How do you think that responsibility from a broker's end, like,
look, end of the day, brokers it's a business.
yeah.
And everybody does business a different way.
Yeah.
And some people do business thinking about today, and some people do business thinking about 1 year, 5 years from now. Unfortunately for the trader, how do you really know, ABC broker, which one is doing business in the long term and they're doing business the right way? But what I would say, though, at least from my experience and what I know from the, let's say, underbelly of the industry, a lot of the reason why we see so many brokers is because there's opportunity for quick profitability. So we find that these are the bad actors, I would say.
Fair. And when it comes to, I think, investor education, Exness, we've seen in multiple partnerships that you guys do, different influencers. It seems to be that you guys do have a specific focus on education, right?
Not trader education.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do any trader education. I would say that the trading education that we provide is generally done by our business partners.
Okay, lovely.
The education that we focus on and that I focus on strategically for the company is educating our partners and our introducers. Because end of the day, as we discussed, as this industry just moving, it's constantly so dynamic. It's just changing by the month. Trends are changing, and ultimately we got to keep our partners ahead of the game. And social media marketing, digital marketing, all the updated trends. So we tend to more focus on educating our partners from a trader perspective, not so much. But furthermore, a lot of the markets that we are quite large in, these are very developed markets from a trading perspective. As I said earlier, these markets that they're about trading conditions, and that's why they're coming to us, because they know they're getting the best in the business. But from a new market perspective, this is where, education is key, and this is where we really look for partners that can provide this kind of unbiased quality education to the masses.
So none of those, look at my car. And if you
you can't, or just, the cash and the Lamborghini in the background. Look,
the rented Charter.
I see it, but we're, and it's just, that's like totally against our, like how we work. So when we see something like that, we speak with those people and we let them know this is against our brand guidelines, like fix it or we'll terminate the agreement. You can't prevent that, but unfortunately, and it is a very big unfortunate that the car and the stack of cash and the suitcase of money, that really works in the industry. It's still really popular, and and in a lot of, I won't name specific markets, but I can tell you some regions where it's all about lifestyle perception, and that's what's selling to them. So not about, let's say, financial freedom or being your own boss or being an entrepreneur through a partnership program. It's about the lifestyle. So you have a video in a private jet, and they're going to follow you and they're going to trade with you wherever that may be, which sometimes can be a little misleading, which concerns me.
Yeah. So what do you think traders should be focusing on to make sure that they grow sustainably? And what do you think stunts sustainable growth the most?
Yeah, well, let's talk. Sustainability, it's a great question, but I would say that let's talk about reasons why traders are not sustainable. And it's just two things, and it's always just comes down to either little or no risk management or emotions. All the information's there. I tell you, like, I've seen instances where there's people who they're successful on like 75-80% of their trades, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and losing money.
Oh.
Imagine this guy's right on 7 to 8 out of his 10 out of his trades. He's profitable. For the month, he's losing money, and consistently, and it's all risk management. Because he's, when he's making profit, he has the fear of, oh my God, it's going to go back down, and let me just capture that small profit. And when it's a loss, he's dealing with the emotion of hope. It's going to go, or he's in a profitable position. He does choose not to take advantage of his exit strategy with his take profit. he gets greedy. This is the killer, and it's the risk management.
Stick to the strategy, right?
Stick to the strategy, but everybody. If I had $1 for every time someone asked me, when's the best time to trade gold, and I'm like, guys, it's actually not the best the entry. It's the exit.
Yeah,
it's all about the exit strategy.
Definitely.
And when are you going to get out? So
Definitely.
I think the primary reason why we see people losing is lack of risk management and trading with emotion. So as you said, make a plan, entry point, exit point, and that's it. And don't be playing with stop losses and take profits and making changes, or it's tough. This is the hard part of trading. It's not about the actual understanding a chart and these things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I personally agree as well. I think, so when we look at analysis, there's fundamental, technical, and then sentimental. So understanding that sentiment, yours and the sentiment of the masses who are, of course, trading with you at the same time, right? The rest of the liquidity. I think that's really, really important. Are there any closing words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience?
No, there's no closing wisdom.
Any hang in there. You'll get there. Just make sure to focus on your education.
Yeah, I say, look, closing words. I don't know the audience if there's going to be experienced traders or they're going to be new traders, but definitely for the experienced traders, I just hope that risk management is a priority in their trading, and I say for the new traders, identify what's important to you from a broker, and then based on that, if the broker checks those boxes, that's where your home can be. And always understand that a broker's not perfect. There's going to be challenges, and if you have challenges with them or issues, you need to communicate it and understand that the broker's trying to help you. So that would be my words for the new people as well.
Definitely. Well, Nima, thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's been great.
Such an insightful conversation.
I appreciate it. Thanks
and
for having me.
it's really cool that you've actually been in it for so long and you've seen this industry go through so many different phases.
Yeah.
So I'm sure for our audience that must be of a lot of use and a lot of relevance.
Yeah, I think so. I guess in this industry, I'm like a grandpa.
Not at all. No, you're like that really cool uncle.
A cool uncle.
That you go to for all the things that your parents don't know about.
I can get behind
the really young one, the youngest sibling out of all of them,
Cool. Awesome.
And thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had as much fun watching this as I did speaking to Nima. Remember, education is the most important thing when it comes to trading. Be safe out there and happy investing. Bye.